move into our first panel discussion for the summit on the topic India's 500 billion US dollar food economy. Where are the opportunities? India's food ecosystem is vast and rapidly evolving, from agri-tech and food processing to cloud kitchens and export-ready brands. This panel this morning dives into the key drivers of growth, investment hotspots, and where the next big bets are being placed across the value chain. I'd like to introduce our panelists to you, and as they come forward, please give them a big round of applause. We have with us this morning Rajat Luthra, CEO, Third Wave Coffee; Bharat Kaushik, Director and CEO, Adukale; Chethan Hegde, Managing Director, Whitehorse, 1522 and NRAI Chapter Head; Prashant Issar, Managing Director, Bellona Hospitality, and Founder and Managing Director at Stratix Hospitality. And moderating this session this morning is Sumit, Marwah, Hospitality Experience Design Principal, I2I. Please give them a big round of applause once again. And with that, it's over to you, Sumit.
So ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, a very good morning to all of you. I didn't hear anything back. Thank you. Sorry for the boys and girls, that happens when you fly Indigo a lot. So anyway, I have a lovely panel with me, a panel that is amazing in terms of the depth and the experience and the scalability that all of them have shown. And we would like to, get their experience. Just to give you a small brief, last couple of days, I had a small interaction with them, wanting to know where we should go with the panel, as typical moderators would do. And going with the theme of this world, I think so all of them wanted to be very organic, very free-flowing, and let's take whatever we can in terms of learning from them. And let's start with some introductions first, and may I request the panel to introduce themselves, a little bit about their background, followed by what they are currently doing. So let's start from this side. Prashant.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone, and wonderful to be here. Well, my name is Prashant Issar, and I'm an entrepreneur, as I call it, because I realized that that definition of entrepreneurship, kind of matches with my mindset. It is said that an entrepreneur believes in the vision and not the journey. So I really don't bother about the challenges, etc. So that's why I call myself. I created a brand called Issar. It's a restaurant. It's across India. And also I look after the Phoenix Mills F&B division. It's a company called Bellona. We've got 34 restaurants across India right now, and I would like to make it 340 and possibly more if possible. So, good morning, everybody.
Well said. Well.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Chethan Hegde. I run a group of restaurant and pubs called 1522. Family's been in the business for about 45 years. I've been actively involved for more than 25 years now. We have 15 outlets across Bangalore and Mumbai. Seen the upswing in Bangalore and entered a new market, trying to understand how the growth story of F&B is going in India, which is exciting and scary at the same time. So, yeah, good morning again.
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Rajat. I've been working in the QSR space for almost 3 decades now, right? So started my career with Domino's Pizza in India, where I was the first store manager when Domino's opened. Now they're 2,000 plus stores, right? Then I've been with Third Wave Coffee. Right now I'm a CEO with Third Wave Coffee. So I've been with Third Wave Coffee for almost a year now. And prior to that, I'd spent almost a decade and a half with KFC, where we started again with 26 stores, and now there are around 1,200 plus stores across the country. So my experience has been not so much into different kinds of restaurant, but with one category, and then scaling up that category, right? So that's what I've been doing. Yeah, so yeah, that's about me.
Hi, good morning. I'm Bharat. I represent a brand called Adukale. We are a packaged South Indian gourmet food brand, clean label. We multi-channel. We have about 25 our own stores across Bangalore, 3,000 outlets across Karnataka, and then present on quick commerce and a bunch of other usual chaos that I think we'll talk about today. Personally, I used to write code, but now I sell code buddies. So, yeah.
Thank you, everybody, and everybody's being very humble, but thank you, Bharat, for at least 2 kilos in my waist is thanks to his products. So they are being very humble currently, and I think so between them, they run hundreds and hundreds of outlets, and I'm not exaggerating here. And I think so it ranges from maybe 500 square feet to 55,000 square feet. And I call it the 1.25 acre place. We were in Bombay the other day and people were talking in square feet. And we have a couple of founders here who are talking about bars and restaurants in Bangalore being in acres. And they were all very overwhelmed by this whole acre story. But regardless, moving on. Let me play homage to the topic currently. India's $500 billion economy, where are the opportunities? And I would request each of our panelists to maybe put on their soothsayer hat and let's discuss opportunities and trends to start this discussion as to where do they see this market moving forward, where do they see the opportunities, where do they see the trends, maybe starting with you, Prashant, if that's okay.
Well, I think India is the land of opportunity. It is the new land of opportunity. It has always been. It is just that it's now known across the world. Back in the UK, there is like a saying that why don't Indians play football? So, and the answer is, when they get a corner, they'll open a shop. So, all corner shops are owned by Indians there. So, if they get a corner, they'll open a shop. Which is so true, no? That's the opportunity that India has. If we find space, we'll start a business. While growing up, and I always say this, while growing up, people used to say, you know, you're from India, there are people everywhere. I mean, really, and I used to really feel embarrassed at times. The second most populated country in the world, etc., etc. But such a boon, right? You open a business and there are queues outside. I mean, you open a business somewhere in Europe right now, you'll have to go and fetch people to your business. In India, every product within every industry has a market. And you have to be really bad not to exploit that. So for restaurants, I mean, people thought that at the end of COVID, someone asked me during COVID that, are you going the cloud kitchen way? And I said, no, I don't know cloud kitchens. I'm a bricks and mortar restaurateur, and that is what I know, so I'll stay with that. So they said, but that's the end of restaurants. And I said, no, sir. I've seen foot and mouth, swine flu, all those things come and go. During foot and mouth, people stopped eating red meat, and they decided that they'll never possibly eat it. And the moment the government just declared, they didn't even realize the government declared it's over, they were ordering 5-second steaks. So we are humans. We have, most of us in our homes, we have a kitchen. We have a cook. We have our mom's cooking, which cannot be beaten, but we still go to restaurants. How can an epidemic or even a pandemic ever change it? Post the pandemic, restaurants have come back, and how? I mean, it's bigger and better. I may not say better because that's a relative term, but bigger than ever. And when it is bigger, there is more variety, there is more quality, people are experimenting more. And like Chef Vicky just said, Indian food is on the table of the world. Studio Trescent Studio getting 3 Michelin stars. I mean, each one of these things counts towards what is available, what is the opportunity available in India. I just cannot talk enough about it, but I can go on also. I think there is, and people say you find a gap in the market, there is an opportunity. no need to find a gap. If there was Uber, there is still an Ola, right? And it's surviving and doing amazingly well. So if there was Flipkart, there is Amazon. If there was Amazon, there's Flipkart, there's Snapdeal, there's Snapdeal, there's Mintra, there's Geo, Lux, etc., etc., etc. So there are gaps, and even if there are no gaps, just go for it. An entrepreneur does not change the pursuit of opportunity depending on the resources at his command. So the difference between an entrepreneur and a manager is just one. A manager will change the pursuit of the opportunity, depends on the availability of resources. An entrepreneur will not.
Fair.
So please don't look for gaps. You have an idea, you put it and test it and do it, and in India, it will work.
Well
Wherever
said, well
else it
said.
does not, I don't care, but in India it will work. My first restaurant, Mirchi and Mime, I saw a video of a restaurant in Toronto in Canada called Signs, based on sign language. It went viral, the video, on BBC. There were like 2.5 million views. I said, let's do it. We did it, and now we've got Issar doing the same. So it's okay. If you really believe that there is something original in the world, well, Google your idea and there'll be millions doing it already. So if you like an idea, just go for it. That's what I feel.
Just go for it. Okay. Chethan, let's talk about liquids now a little bit. The next two people are going to talk about different kind of liquids. Chethan, what do you think the future in terms of the opportunities and the trends that are going to happen, which you foresee in the new future, in maybe the beverage part of it, which we'll ask Mr. Luthra to comment on the coffee part of it, but the other brown beverage and the other colorful ones, if you can tell us what are the future trends and opportunities that you look forward to?
From the beginning, like I said, when you travel, you see some new names. I saw a gastropub. I said, what's a gastropub? Like a pub which serves food as well. Then I said, we've been doing it forever in India, right? There is no pub or a bar in India which doesn't serve food. And all kinds of food, local, innovative stuff, bar bites and everything. So Indians have always been used to eating while drinking and drinking while eating. So I think I can speak for ourselves. Our food to alcohol percentage is 50-50. Even though we are a pub, we are very focused on food as well. But then today the trends are changing every 3-4 years, I suppose. Right? I mean, you can't make a format. Back in the day in Bangalore, there were places like Pub World and Cellar and Guzzlers. There are no more. Because either you change to stay relevant with the trend, or you become redundant very fast. So a shelf life for a good concept today is about 4 to 5 years. So every place has to rethink, re-engineer, and get to the drawing board to get relevant to today's audience. Like back in the day when, forgive me, I will keep speaking about Bangalore because that's in the DNA here. Back in the day, Bangalore, if you're going out to celebrate, to have a good meal, across Bangalore, everybody used to converge into Brigade Road, MG Road. That was the epicenter of F&B or anything interesting. But then the way Bangalore has grown, I would say very inorganically and like crazy growth and very fast. So there have been traffic issues, parking issues, drunk driving issues. So Bangalore has become very area-centric, right? Sarjapur, it's his own market. Like a Malleshwaram, it's a complete different market. You have a mall, you have bars, you have, restaurants, everything's. Nobody wants to drive unless there is something like out of the world that you will want to check out, that you might take a drive once, but then you're in your 3-4 kilometer radius, either near your office or near your house, right? So all kinds of formats have started. Like you're saying, you couldn't even imagine somebody starting a microbrewery or a pub in 50,000 square feet. Now I hear there is one coming up at 1.5 lakh square feet.
Only you didn't mention.
Sorry?
You didn't mention only.
So I said 3,500 seater. I said, are you getting people in buses? What are you going to do? But then that's the kind of confidence or euphoria that is there in the market, which, like I said when I started, which is good in a way and scary in a way. People are just trying to ape things now, which is not very good. If something is working, it doesn't mean that I do a bigger, more fancier place, it's going to work. I think most of us, when we go out to have a good time, you need a comfort zone. Our format is of a neighborhood pub, right? So the personal touch, when you walk in, do you feel the vibe? Does the staff connect to you? All those things make a lot of difference at this point of time. Fortunately or unfortunately, the cut and paste model has become too prevalent now, and a lot of places are looking similar. The menus are copied, concepts are copied. So that is a scary part. So if there is something interesting, there's something comes from within that you have to start, then it'll definitely work.
Fair enough.
So I don't know if you guys have heard about a place called Soka.
Yeah.
It's a 27-seater place, and I don't want to talk about the numbers that they do, but it's amazing what you can do with a 27-seater, which many 300, 800 seaters can't do. So it's the concept, it's the conviction, and it is the personal touch that you give that makes a lot of difference.
Agreed. In fact, I heard a podcast the other day of this lady who's responsible for the courtyard, and she said that in Bangalore, we have the extremes. We have the 2,000, 3,000 seaters, and we have the 10 and 14 seaters, and both of them seem to be sold out at some moment of time. And what she said was that the big guys, the one who have these kind of seats, are the one who are driving the change to get the people to come out. So as a percentage of people coming out, it's still, we've got a long, long way to go in India. So, so these are driving. So the big guys who are having as he said, the 3,500 covers, they are driving the people to maybe come out, and then they shall experiment maybe with the newer places. And I think so Bangalore's got quite a few of these new little cocktail bars, quite a few of them around. So okay, that's what he says is the future. Now, moving on to Rajat, you've had a great amount of years of experience in various formats within this thing. Right. Now you're heading a coffee chain which is nearing maybe 200 outlets currently in this year. Where do you see the opportunities in this space currently going forward?
So if I have to connect some of the dots, right? So I think so. One is that opportunities, when you look at various concepts, so there are different concepts like how Vicky was explaining in the morning that you can do a lot of things right across. And then to me, I feel that within even a single category, the opportunities are huge. If I look at my own journey, like, when I say pizza, starting from pizza, right, where it was just started off with the first store in India way back in '96. Right, where the market size for pizza as a category was very small, right? And now if you look at it, it's one of the highest category that is available, right? So Domino's itself has 2,000 pizzas. Other chains have also got thousands of pizza. There are so many pizza areas available, right? So, so for coffee, it's at a very nascent stage at this point in time. Now, when you look at that category is quite a big category. So you have to first also, how do you create consumption in the category? Because with so much of a population, how do you do it at scale, right? So if I was to think back, if I think back in way back in '96, the category of a pizza was a snack for Indians. It was never a meal. Now, so there were some hard choices which we made, right, at that point in time, because we used to get maximum orders during the snack time. Now, if you look at most of the generation which is sitting here, I mean, we use that category as a meal today, right? We don't use that category as a snack anymore, right? But then we said, okay, we will not make any offers on the regular size of pizzas. We'll give offers only on the large size. I'm okay to sell a large size pizza, lesser than even a smaller size as an offer, right? So to create that consumption, to create that habit, right? So similarly, you need to know how this category, what is the role of the category and the category is supposed to do, right? And you have to keep pushing it day in, day out. Obviously, unit economics and everything is important, right? That you still remain profitable and do it at scale. And how do you find scale when you keep doing the right thing? So similarly, if I look at coffee, I think so we are consuming a lot of coffee, but when you look at the category itself, the consumption can be far bigger. It can be 5 times, 10 times. The number of outlets which we have in the country, irrespective of which brand and how, right, can be far higher than where we are, right? So, example is like China. Today, China has brands which have got 20,000 stores, right? So it is about discipline, believing in the category, and also creating that consumption over a period of time, and then at some point in time it pivots, right? So it pivots to a much longer size. So to me, opportunity, coming back to the opportunity, is that rolling out different concepts, right? But also opportunities, pick up those right categories, right? Understand what the trends are, and then really scaling it up with a lot of discipline, belief in that, and then finding what are the right ways to make sure that the category pivots, right? So that's my understanding.
And as what all of you have said, that there's space for everybody, the large chains, the niche cafes, just about everybody has got a space in India.
So you need to figure out how do you scale it up, right? So if you have, you can, I mean, I don't know how, I don't have that experience that if there are different concepts, very chef-driven, how do you scale it up, right? But there are ways, right? Because today technology has changed. There are equipments that can scale it up. You can understand time and motion study. You can understand your processes within the kitchens, right? So companies like Boxit and all that are figuring that out, right? And there is a lot of global learning across the world, right? That how do you ensure that the processes are, like if you look at speed is of huge importance today, right? So there are people who are talking about 30 minutes delivery. There are people who are talking about speed of service in 2 minutes, 10 minutes. So you need to figure out, because you can never be faster than your slowest processes in the kitchens or in the service, right? So you need to figure out where those bottlenecks are and how technology or can support those processes, and make sure you keep improving day in, day out, and then and consistency is equally important, right? So you need to be consistent in your service, your product, and then right, like you need to connect with your consumers, right? So because if you can do it, anybody else can do it, right? So it's a lot of copy and paste, as you said, right? But how does a brand connect with the consumer day in, day out? I mean, you don't have to do 20 things, but just do those 2 things, and you stand for those 2 things, right? And you're committed for those 2 things. I think so that's where opportunities are, I mean, endless opportunities, as everybody just said. I mean, India is full of opportunities. You pick up like turmeric latte, which Vicky mentioned in the morning, is like, you know, I mean, we can be pioneers in it. Why do we have to copy others? So it's broad. We can keep talking about it day in, day out, right? So, yeah.
Fair enough. I think so. All the first 3 panelists, all of us have said one thing. You know, the opportunities are there in India. You need to be really talented to be able not to make it in the field of food and beverage in India. Coming on to Bharat now. Bharat represents a category that is humongously huge in India. So in terms of snacks, in terms of instant mixes, in terms of masalas, I mean, that's the basic categories that he works with. And involving a lot of tradition in what Adukale does in their products. Where do you see packaged food in India going forward? I know you have your products in maybe a few thousand outlets and you have your own 30, 40 outlets. Where do you see packaged foods going forward? You know, your input on that.
Yeah, thanks. I think packaged foods as a market, I think, is here to stay, yeah, right? I mean, I don't see a reason why packaged foods go away. I think more and more people like convenience. And newer channels to buy products are opening up right now. I think quick commerce has come in and changed a lot of things in how people consume packaged foods. So that is there, right? It all depends on how well you have, the product is accepted by your consumers and how well it is consistent. And the discipline and focus with which you scale up the brand, I think that's what it is. I think it is how well you enjoy the daily boring grind is where I think the opportunity is. While the top of the funnel is huge, I think the challenge is how well you enjoy doing the boring stuff every day, right? And that's where it is, right? I mean, we can get extremely distracted by new products. You can get extremely distracted by new markets. You'll say, oh, today I'm in Karnataka, tomorrow I can go to Delhi, day after tomorrow I can go. You can spray and pray and do all of that. But ultimately, it all depends on how well you can execute it at scale. And that's where it is, right? I mean, today, if you have a good product market fit, if you have discipline and focus, I don't see a reason why with an opportunity here in India, you can't build more than like hundreds of crores of worth of brand value there. I mean, it's possible. It's definitely possible. So.
Okay. We'll now quickly move to the next thing. Let's talk about a small thing, and maybe let's start with Prashant. Prashant, may I paraphrase you in one of the older conferences? You talk about something called the integrity of product, of what you're doing. So, quick advices for the audience as an entrepreneur. What do you think is going forward for some of the young entrepreneurs here? What are the 2 or 3 snippets that you would like to give them going forward to be a great entrepreneur?
You know, entrepreneurs have a choice. They can change their decision anytime. So, I've always realized that when we create a concept, or we create the same concept in a different city, in a different geography, no matter how many food trials you do and how many service role plays you do, etc., your concept evolves during the first month after opening. Because remember one thing, India is the size of a continent and we are very varied as people. So if we think something works in Bangalore will automatically copy paste and work in Bombay, possibly not. Of course, coffee does. Sorry about that. Coffee does. But in an agile product, it might not be the case. So you have to be very, very aware, open, and flexible to the needs, wants, and desires of that geography. People say to me, okay, who's your TG for this restaurant? Who's your TG for that concept, for that concept? I said, I don't know. I make a concept for everyone. Why will I limit my TG? I want 140 crore people to be wanting to come to my restaurant at some point of time in their lives. I'll be glad if they come every week, but at some point of time in their lives. So, there are various parameters with which you think. So, you think what is going to be 1 out of 5 on quality, dependability, cost, flexibility. Yeah, more or less. So what is going to be your 1 out of 5? So for a McDonald's, it will be cost and dependability, 0 flexibility. For me, it will be high on flexibility, low on cost, dependability, yes. So you have to basically look at 4 or 5 aspects of it and then put the resources against it. Resources like people, process, technology, and information. You will focus people towards quality. You will focus technology towards dependability and cost. You will focus information for one of them, and you'll focus and process, obviously, tying everything in. So I just feel also processes, I actually don't believe too much in processes because I think they are overstated and exaggerated and complicated, and they never work. For me, what works is mindset, is keeping things simple. I have seen a sequence of service made by managers which goes into volumes, and then we say managers cannot write. It goes into volumes, but it is never followed. For me, a sequence of service is 6 steps at the most, which you can put in posters in the back of your kitchen, so that everyone going inside and outside, what we have to do is, we have to make a product like someone said about a chef-driven restaurant cannot be scaled. True. We have to make our product people agnostic. The personality is not really the person, because if the person goes, then you're left high and dry. The personality is the brand. The moment the personality is the brand, you can scale it. Till the time the personality is, and I don't mean to be nasty to managers, they're great people. I've been a manager myself. Till the time the personality is the manager, you are a slave to that manager, and you cannot scale. How will you replicate the manager?
Fair.
So give the personality to the brand.
Fair enough. Moving on to Chethan, a young budding entrepreneur comes to you, wanting to go ahead in the beverage or the gastropub segment, as you put it. What advice would you quickly give him in a few points? What would you tell him to do?
First thing, if young, old, somebody from software coming into F&B, or people from the film industry want to start restaurants, construction magnates want to start restaurants, now billionaires are getting into the restaurant industry. But then I feel that if you're not ready to, at least in the first few years, if you're not ready to give 7 days a week, 24/7, forget about your holy Diwalis. And especially in the liquor, if liquor is involved, if you don't have the balls to fight out the excise, the cops,
We will come to the pain points in a little while, yes.
unless you have the madness to do it, don't get into it.
So hard work, gut, gumption is what you're saying.
I think hard work is overrated. Everybody works hard, right? I mean, your Ola driver works hard, your maid works hard, everybody works hard. I don't think it's only hard work. You need to have some madness, passion.
Let's call it cojones instead of
to
the
stick
French
it out.
that we are using, yes.
Yeah, you have to stick it out. Like, for example, what Prashant said, Bombay, Delhi, Bangalore is different. I believe Malleshwaram is different from Bell Road. Bell Road is different from Sarjapur. I mean, Kormangla, if you play a rock song, they'll say, Bhangra Bajao. If you go to one of my first places, if you play a Hindi song, people are like, what the fuck are you doing types, right? So every area, everything is different. I mean, we walked into Bombay, and in Bangalore, when we came to Residency Road, we thought rents are expensive. Then I heard about the rents in Andheri, and my eyes opened up. Now we are opening something in Bandra. I don't know if I thought, are you giving the rent or the selling price of the place, right? So it's very difficult. I mean, I was very a strong believer, like if it is like when you started, like it's McDonald's, a burger, a chicken burger should be X rate in Bangalore, Mysore, Delhi, wherever. I thought that's what should be with 1522 also. But now, still at this point of time, we are like that, other than Bombay is different. But even in Bombay, I can't carry the same menu what I have in Andheri.
Absolutely.
To Bandra, because my rent is 3x, right? And the expectations, the everything is different. So young or old, whoever is getting into the business, unless you understand where you're getting into. I mean, like Prashant said, I also would like that 140 million people come is my target audience, but I believe you have to understand your segment. If I am selling, uh, do I want to sell a beer at 100 rupees or a 500 rupees? Am I going to give you a plastic cup or a fancy chilled glass? So unless I understand that and I believe that this is what I'm going to do, and do I have that target audience in the 4-5 kilometers radius, and the product fit for the market is very important.
Are you trying to say traffic's good for business?
Traffic is not good for anything
You,
unless...
you've made 15 restaurants in Bangalore, in
No,
various micro markets, so
No,
you've used that disadvantage to your advantage.
No,
is what I'm trying to
I
say.
was on a panel in for the NRI forum and we were just discussing Zomato and Swiggy is coming out with a 10-minute delivery. I don't know what they call it.
Yeah. They have already.
Yeah?
It's already launched, yeah.
So I was at this corner, right? The Google Map said right and Grand Magrath Hotel. And you realize that road is shut. Then you go around and come back. So this is crazy. I mean, how things are going with the speed of delivery. I think there should be some passion in serving food. Speed, I mean, is only for Flipkart and Amazon, right?
So you're saying passion. If you don't have that, don't please venture into the food entrepreneur space.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Absolutely.
thanks Chethan, for that. Again, let me be politically correct. For somebody who comes to you, young at heart, let me put it that way, and asks you that he wants to get into maybe the QSR space or the cafe space tomorrow, what are the few bits of advice you'd like to give him? Or her?
And if an entrepreneur walks in and wants to get into QSR space, I mean, keep using this terminology which we, are imbibing in our company, which is RED, which is where the format which you make should be relevant, easy, and distinctive, right? So when I say relevant, it has to be relevant. So you need to be very sure that you're relevant as a product line. You keep yourself relevant. You keep a watch on the trends and the opportunities you have. When we say easy, it has to be easy for customer, right? Easy for customer, how do they buy it, right? Through technology, all kinds of tenders should be acceptable. Easy the way so that you can scale it up. Distinctive, your format has to still remain distinctive. So you have to find that uniqueness of the format. I mean, if you want to get into a pizza, then it has to be pizza forward, it has to be burger forward if you want to get into, or a fried chicken, or a coffee, right? So your brand, if it is like, and it has to remain distinctive as an asset, and people, and so that's my simple advice going to be to them.
Fair enough. Moving on to Bharat. You represent a category that's maybe slightly different than everybody else, and regional foods, if I may so call them. I mean, India may be having 200 regions today that that we can talk about, and that's the opportunity of the market. What would you advise somebody who wants to get into this field, as somebody who's been there for a couple of decades?
Two things, I think. One thing, in addition to figuring out what to sell, I think it's extremely important to figure out where to sell, right? Like today you have multiple channels, you have general trade, you have modern trade, you have quick commerce, you have online. Each of them are unique in their own way. And each of them, the sustainability of that model is, I mean, if you don't get your unit economics right, it places a huge burden on that channel, right? So figuring out where to sell, I think, is extremely, extremely important. Like what to sell is an easier problem to crack. You're a founder, you figure out, I do this best, you're done. But figuring out where to sell and how to sell it sustainably in the long run, I think is the number one important thing that people need to understand in this space.
Very well said.
Important.
Very well said. Where to sell. Has quick commerce helped you in your growth?
Yes, I mean, quick commerce is a great channel for trials, but I'm still yet to see a model where people have built sustainable businesses only on quick commerce, right? It is, I mean, today for me, it is a necessary evil, I would say. I'm not cribbing The scale at which we have grown on quick commerce for the past 6 months, we have grown about 5x on quick commerce. So it's
wow.
great for the top line. But I don't analyze the bottom line when it comes to quick commerce. It gives me sleepless nights. So it gives me sleepless nights there. Right? So it's a great channel for trials. But in certain categories, I think there's a fear that it might lead to commoditization of a particular category. Right? There is a bit of a fear there. And I don't think there is anybody here who says they understand quick commerce fully. I think the chips are yet to fall on how the channel is going to evolve and coexist with other channels today. So.
Okay, great. So we've had a good talk on opportunities. Let's talk about a couple of pain points that keep coming up in this business. We are short of time, so maybe a quick thing from everybody. Maybe starting with you. The GST landscape as far as food is concerned, in terms of the input cost. What are your thoughts on that? And quickly, because we are running out of time.
I mean, it has streamlined a whole bunch of things, but I still think it's a black box, right? I mean, I don't think there's a lot of clarity. Some people say it's 5% for one category. The same other ask another auditor, he says it's 12%. And he says, just to be on the safe side, just put it 12% so that if somebody comes, you don't have to pay retrospective.
Evidently, you aren't selling caramel popcorn, right?
Yeah. So it is there, like, I mean, but it's a system, but it has its flaws as well. I mean, it's an evolving system, but yeah.
Okay, fair enough. What would you say in terms of the input cost? Does that affect you as
absolutely, it affects us, right? Because there are 12%, 18%, but we charge 5%. So this is something that the industry, it really affects our margins, right? Day in, day out. Yeah. So this is a big thing, something that industry has been trying very hard to get it back. Yeah.
Chethan, you've talked about input GST as a cost, right?
Yeah.
Quick thoughts on that.
I mean, through NRA on the national platform, we have had multiple meetings with the government and the bureaucracy. The simple thing is like, if we are charging 5% and you're paying 18% and still there's no input. I mean, we have, now we are getting into malls and bigger buildings which are more organized. The rents are high.
Yes.
There is something called a scam, which is a scam, right? So you pay CAM, you pay GST over that. You pay rent, you pay GST over that. And especially if Godrej or a Phoenix or somebody is your thing, you pay electricity, they give you a bill, you pay GST on that. You get a water bill, you pay GST on that. So your cost is always 18% higher than what you perceive.
Sure.
And then it doesn't come back to you at all. And simple thing as capex, there are people spending 50 lakhs, there's people spending 20 crores on a place. So imagine 20 crores of 18%, okay? I'm bad at math. So around 3.5, 3.6 crores, right? About 7 years back, we started a place called 1Q1. My service tax input lasted me for 2.5 years. So the first 2.5 years before GST came, I was offsetting my capex input which was there. Now from day one, the tax is on you. That's a huge problem there. And frankly, I hope nobody puts it up on social media or something. The government doesn't take F&B seriously, right? The problem here is, collectively, directly or indirectly, we're the second largest employer in the country after the Indian Railways, right? Indian Railways is the number one. F&B industry, hotels, everybody put together. Food services, second largest employer. And believe me, anybody and everybody can get a job in our industry. Skilled, non-skilled, you can come, learn on the job. We are just desperate to get good people. We'll come and train you because manpower is a huge problem. So when we are contributing so much to the economy, we are not taken seriously. Simple things like licensing. You can never put a business plan. Somebody comes and says you make a business plan. There can't be a business plan because you don't know whether you're going to open in 3 months or 1 year. You don't know when your licenses are going to be approved. And the the system is, I mean, the excise is, the last amendment in excise rule in India was 1967.
Thank God I wasn't around that time.
Same here. 2025, we are still working with draconian rules, and there's so much ambiguity that leads to corruption. Because if it's black or white, I mean, people will do what it has to be done, and they don't have to pay. But it is always grey. So it's a very, very difficult thing.
Fair enough. Prashant, if I may just take forward what Chethan is saying, and that could be a pain point for you too in terms of the, when brands that you guys make and you're scaling, let's talk in terms of liquor, and there is a non-homogenization of standards, right, of licensing, sorry, that each state has its own state excise that you need to deal with. And how do you want this to change in the future, especially in terms of the state excise laws, in terms of liquor, because pain points would be different in different cities?
Yeah, so when GST came, it was like one country, one tax. But it didn't work out for us. I remember it was so funny, the situation, that we went on behalf of our customers to reduce the tax burden on the customer. And we ended up losing input credit. So not only did we lose the top line by, say, 5-10%, we also lost our bottom line by 18%. And that's absolutely ridiculous. We are... Indian restaurant industry, I can only define it in one word, which is resilient. Because had we been anywhere else in the world, we would have just shut shop. Through the pandemic, the balance sheets of my colleagues in US and UK were never stronger than during the pandemic because of the furloughs they were getting from their government. And we didn't get a penny, neither did we ask. Neither did we know that we can ask. So we didn't get anything because we didn't ask. But we are resilient. India runs on small businesses. Now with excise, we are very feudalistic in our still. We are still kingdoms. And that hurts. So like what Chethan was saying, that you have to understand these nitty-gritties to do business in any geography. First of all, you have to understand these nitty-gritties to do business at all.
That's a great learning, I think, so for all of you. When he says the nitty-gritties, right? So that needs to be sorted out first. Passion and resilience to follow, right?
Yeah, and I don't understand these nitty-gritties. And frankly, I just hope that other people, and especially NRAI, is there to help us out. And I hope they can definitely pull a rabbit out of a hat, because it's as difficult as doing that. But they've done it a couple of times. Hopefully it is done. But at this point of time, it's abysmal. The situation is really, really bad. And it just keeps going up. It's like the price of petrol. In fact, petrol is far more reasonable than alcohol.
Well, that's the petrol and state excise. They're both state subjects, right? So that's what matters.
No, I mean, at some point people have worked, whatever. When you get a raise, it's 5%, 7%, 10%. Now I heard it's gone to 2% and all. But the government of Karnataka has given us a 110% raise in terms of excise fees.
I know.
Right? It's gone 2.2x now. And there is no reason. Maybe we are funding the free bus or whatever. I don't know.
Fair enough. I think so. We are nearing the end of this. So we'll change the mood to something more positive. 2 words of advice, and I mean 2 words that you would like to give the future entrepreneurs in terms of opportunity. 2 words. What would you say?
You ask me?
Yes, Prashant, from you.
I'm not a 2-word man. You can ask them, but just
you said
3 words. Go for it.
Okay, resilience and passion is what you said before this.
I would say just stay strong.
Yeah,
What about
absolutely.
you?
Resilient, passion, stay strong. I'll just repeat what they said. Yeah.
Bharat,
I say passion and learn to say no.
learn to say no. Yeah, that's very well said. That's one of my professors that I am one day, spent 3 hours to make us realize that success is the ability to say no. That stood by me for years. We don't have much time, but if the audience wants to partake of any of their experiences, would you like to ask something? Any of-
Yeah, I got a question
You got the
for
mic already.
Chethan. Chethan, I noticed in your place you also have activities for the community. For example, I stay close to your 1522 in Kormangla, and you have salsa nights and those kind of things. So how well do these things work for you? And if Tide decides to organize small events in 1522, can you give us buy one drink, get two free, something like that?
So that's what you're getting at, right? So should I answer the first question or the second one? Okay. Like I said, when you start any outlet or any bar, especially a place which serves alcohol, you have to keep it active and interesting and innovative. You have to give them a reason. I mean, I don't make Kingfisher, I don't make Black Label. I'm buying it and selling it. So why are people walking into my place to buy the same thing that they can buy it down the road? So you have to make that place relevant, interesting, and like the salsa night is a very, it builds a community. I mean, it gets people together, make new friends, and that's how it happens. I mean, we have multiple things. We have bands playing, but that's exactly what I was coming from. Now, that's what we thought of and started, right? But the problem in today's day and age is, if something happens and something is successful, the next 10 restaurants are doing the same thing. So then it loses value. Yeah, I mean, you have to keep it interesting and innovative all the time, but the 1+2 drinks will talk outside.
The lady at the first table, quick one.
Hi, hi everyone. Thank you. It was very interesting. My name is Angela Malik. I am the Director of Client Success for Elior India. Just joined the board from Elior Group. We're a €9 billion contract catering company. And my remit is to come and do India. How do we start to develop the contract catering business within a market like India? And as you said, it feels like the Wild West here in the 1880s. You can turn up, plant a stake, and you have to win. But what I found in my 3 months is there is no such thing as India. There's actually many, many countries in India. So with our F&B world, you want to keep things hyper-regional, but then also you have national brands like the coffee brand. So in our industry, we're serving lakhs of meals a day. There are captured audiences, but how do we build business models where it's hyper-regional, but also completely national? And where do you see technology coming into it? Thank you.
Yeah, you're fine. Where do we see technology coming in? We've got a session coming up on technology. Yes.
I'll try to answer that. So anywhere, see, we are in the world of hyper-local. It doesn't mean, businesses don't mean that you have to anymore have to follow a cookie cutter approach. The agility of a business need not be just in the product, but it has to be in how the product is serviced to a particular market. Especially in contract catering, I had a stint in contract catering. I remember going from managing a bar in the Taj Hotel, serving a 1,400 rupee steak back in 1999, to serving a 25 rupee 5-meal day in LG factory in Delhi. But I used to make profit in both the places, right? So, especially in contract catering, if you're catering to a certain industry and then you're catering to an oil rig and then you're catering to someone else, I'm sure you'll have different plans and strategies and tactics for that. India is the same. The sheer size of India makes people nervous. And bigger the company does not makes them actually prone to errors. When Pampers went to China, they did not realize that Chinese kids wear pants with an opening at the back. So they had to come out of China the first time they went there. So bigger the company does not make them error-proof. It makes them error-prone. And like any other market, when I say in India everything can be successful, yes, but it is not the 1880s. It is not planting a stake. It is learning the nitty-gritties of the business, of that geography, of, like he said, your TG, and then tailoring it. If I have to open the same restaurant in another city, I will follow the 70-30 or a 60-40 or an 80-20 rule, depending on the likes and dislikes in terms of the menu as well. So I just feel it's got to be tailored. Higher the risk, higher the return.
Fair enough.
And I think it'll balance out and leverage against each other, and then that's how you make your money.
Well, I'd like to conclude also by saying that, a friend of mine the other day mentioned that look at India as Europe.
Exactly.
And that's how we are. We are different. Our cuisine changes every 50 kilometers. And as they said, as Prashant said, if you can adapt to it, good for you. And coming to technology, yes, there will be a session. We have a session coming where people will talk about AI and the influence of AI agents on food ordering, where I think so. All you need to do is, I need a biryani under 250 rupees within 25 minutes at my door, and the AI agent would do the rest, including ordering it, finding out the best reviews, and then taking money out of your UPI. So that's the future, whether we like to believe it or not. So thank you everyone here. Thank you to my panelists here, and thank you to the audience for being patient enough to listen to us for a long time. And thank you so much for
Big
being
round
here.
of applause once again. Prashant said, like an idea, go for it. Chethan mentioned passion for the craft is everything. Sandeep, Rajat said format of your business should be relevant, easy and distinctive. And Bharat said figure out where to sell, how to sell it. Sustainability is the key. A lot of takeaways there. We'd like to once again thank the panel. It was a privilege to hear from these industry stalwarts as they shared their wealth of knowledge. I'd like to quickly request Sandeep Agarwal, board member, Thai Bangalore, to please come forward and present a small token of appreciation to our panelists. Please give them a big round of applause once again. We'd like to thank the panel once again for sharing their perspectives on the topic, India's $500 billion food